What is going on, YouTube? It is the Dual Threat Podcast here, your daily news source for all things sports. This is Friday Night Lines. I am Drew. This is my co-host.
I'm Jacob. How is everybody doing on this Friday afternoon?
Let's get straight into it, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you unfamiliar here, Jacob, why don't you give us the rundown?
All right, how are we doing, everybody? Friday Night Lines is it's our day of the week where we talk about our favorite sports betting lines of the college football slate, and kind of which side we're taking and which side we think is probably going to hit.
All right, let's get straight into it. The first lock of the week. We've got Oklahoma State +4. Now, this game is against TCU at TCU. We think TCU is just a tad bit overrated. As we saw last week, TCU beat Kansas. That was a pretty solid win, I will say. We've talked about Kansas a lot on this, but that was without Jalen Daniels, who is a great quarterback. The week before that, TCU beat just absolutely demolished Oklahoma, who we now know is one of the worst teams in the Big 12 from last week as well. So we're taking Oklahoma State +4 here. Oklahoma State is a very solid team. They've beat Baylor, who turns out is not very good either. But Oklahoma State is ranked high for a reason. We think they will continue to be ranked that high. Give us the Okies, baby. Jacob, what do we got for the second game?
All right, the second game we're going to be talking about, we talked about them earlier in the week, but it's going to be Minnesota. Minnesota's only 6.5-point favorites against Illinois. Illinois is currently at the top of the Big Ten West, and kind of like we were talking about the other day, Minnesota is coming for that top Big Ten West spot, and so they're going to be out here playing. Their best player, Mo Ibrahim, we talked about him extensively. He's going to be back. So the run game is going to be going, which opens up more pass game for the Gophers. And 6.5 points. They were favored by 10 against Purdue without Ibrahim. 6.5 is not enough, even though it's at Illinois. I like Minnesota minus the points.
Looks like we're going with all the away teams from what I can see here. But we've got, for our third game, Arkansas +1. Unbelievable. We believe the wrong team is favored here. You're telling me KJ Jefferson is expected to be back for this game against the Mormons, and they're supposed to lose? Not on my watch, ladies and gentlemen. Not on my watch. Give us the Razorbacks. Sam Pittman, even though he wears a bra, and I'm convinced of it, they're going to win this game. All right, Jacob, what do you got for the fifth game here?
Next up,
Fourth game,
we got a little throwback. We got a team that used to be dominant in college football, and then they get DJ Uyunglele and they start stinking. But we still like Clemson this weekend against Florida State. I mean, we're not big Florida State haters around here, but we're Clemson truthers. Maybe don't believe in DJ, but we believe in Dabo. And Clemson -3.5. I mean, we've seen what they've done recently against these ACC teams. They've been close favorites going into the week against NC State and Wake Forest, and they win both of those by more than 3.5. And I would argue, and I think it would be pretty consensus, that both of those teams are better and more competent than Florida State is. And so I don't care that it's at Florida State. I'm taking Clemson -3.5 this week.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, lastly, for our lock of the week, we've got the Oranges, ladies and gentlemen. This is the only home team that we have on this sheet. Syracuse -3.5 over NC State. NC State is fraud, ladies and gentlemen. We've been saying it from the beginning, and we will continue to say it until this season is over and they have at least 4 losses, so our friends bet loses, ladies and gentlemen. We've got Syracuse this weekend. This team was very underrated coming into the season. Now they are ranked 18th, and they are still not ranked high enough, ladies and gentlemen. They have not played anybody. but they will be on the map after this weekend. Give us Syracuse -3.5. We believe, at least for me, they should be favored by at least a touchdown, ladies and gentlemen. Now we get into our upsets of the week. Jacob, why don't you start us off with your ridiculous upset so I can spread the correct information as to what is going to hit this week?
All right, everybody, ladies and gentlemen, as Drew would say, I love, love the Volunteers to upset the Tide. I know what you're sitting there thinking. You're saying you are insane. The Tide are going to roll over the Volunteers. And I tell you what, not only are they going to cover the 8.5 points, they are going to beat the Tide. And this is going to cause some commotion in the college football landscape, because now maybe even if USC loses to Utah this weekend, but they win the Pac-12, maybe they're still in because they don't have Alabama to compete with anymore, assuming Georgia wins the SEC. Listen, we're talking about everybody's best dreams if they're competing for the playoff is Alabama losing before the SEC championship. And that is what is going to happen. Bryce Young is officially a game time decision, not in, not out. If he's out, I don't think this game's close. I think Tennessee wins by at least 14, maybe 17. But even if he plays, Hendon Hooker is a dog. Listen to me when I tell you, the man is a certified dog. So I'm taking the balls. If Bryce Young plays, it's going to be a coin flip, but it still shouldn't be 8.5 points. I think that's out of control. I think Vegas is just deciding to lose money this weekend. But I think I like Tennessee. I like their chances, and if Bryce doesn't play, I love him. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Okay, so now to the correct upset of the week, ladies and gentlemen. And let me tell you something, this one is a doozy. Remember back earlier when I was talking about teams that were fraud? Michigan is also on that list, ladies and gentlemen. We are taking Penn State this weekend. And granted, I am biased. My dad is the coach. But James Franklin is going to lead their team to a program-defining victory this weekend. And it's going to look like James Franklin may just be worth those millions and millions of dollars that he's being paid every year to lose close games like he has been these past couple of years. But he will get him his big win. And not only that, it will be Penn State versus Ohio State for the Big Ten division. That is all I've got to say, Jacob. I'm sorry to tell you that my upset is going to hit and yours will not. But it is what it is. Penn State.
That's a terrible take.
Sean Clifford will lead
Terrible
them
take.
to the promised land.
Sean Clifford is terrible. And Michigan is a new team after last year. Michigan rolls Penn State. If you want to listen to the truth, listen to me.
No,
and if
sir.
You want
Bryce
to listen
Young
to,
will be back.
If you want to listen to Homer Cap, listen to Mr. Franklin himself, Drew.
No, sir. No, sir. Listen, let me tell y'all something. Bryce Young will show you that he is the true Heisman candidate from last year. And he'll be back this week. And he will hand it to Tennessee. Tennessee will yet to beat Alabama since the iPhone has been released, ladies and gentlemen. And that will continue. Nick Saban is just cradling Tennessee over there because he literally is the father of Tennessee, much like James Franklin is to me.
To you. No, Jimbo,
Now,
I mean, Tennessee wins and they're going to have half as many wins against Alabama as A&M does, but
no,
and then Jimbo's going to get released from A&M and go to Tennessee, and then they're going to win national championships for days because Texas A&M is a waste of talent for that man, Jimbo Fisher. But anyway, tangent aside.
Me and you can agree on that.
Tangent aside, thank you guys so much for watching Friday Night Lines. Thank you for, just supporting the channel. We've gotten a lot of subscribers recently, and we don't notice. We appreciate it. Yeah, Drew, you want to send us off?
Yeah, I just want to say one quick thing. When you're watching this Penn State Michigan game this weekend, remember one thing for me. roughing the Clifford, ladies and gentlemen. That penalty will be called a few times, and that will lead them to the victory. That is all I've got to say, Jacob. Yeah, make sure y'all subscribe. Comment down below if you disagree with any of our takes. If you want to place a parlay on this, we wouldn't say no, but then again, with our track record, I wouldn't, ladies and gentlemen. All right, thank y'all for tuning in, everybody. Make sure to comment, subscribe, and like the video as well. We appreciate it. Thank y'all.